This thing is huge. How the hell am I gonna paint it?
In order to paint this Deep Wars gaming table, I've broken it down into two parts. The first one, 281 3D printed parts, which is going to complete the Sunken Citadel. The second part, the 4x6 gaming table that is going to be the underwater world.
There's no way I'm gonna start painting the Sunken Citadel until I do a couple of test themes to make sure I pick the right scheme to go with this project. So that's exactly what I did. I went ahead and done up two different schemes. One of them is based off some old-time scuba gear. The other one is based off some concept art from Antimatter Games.
So I decided to go with the blue one because the bronze had 9 paints and the blue only had 7, and I needed speed. So there's no faster way than to hit it with a spray can to get the base color down. Then I used some Deco Art turquoise and a great big makeup brush. And then I started to dry brush all the copper dome tops, as well as all the tunnel and structure pieces for the Sunken Citadel. And there was a lot of them. Once that was done, I pretty much repeated the process with some bright bronze. Floor, I decided to go with a cold steel look. Basically, what I'm trying to do here is just a quick and dirty paint job, like this whole thing has been sitting under the water for a long time and is starting to corrode. Picked out some pipes with some bronze and gold. Nothing fancy here, just trying to paint as fast as I can. But I did go in with my airbrush and do some OSL lighting around all these hallway lights. Then I picked out the details for the control boards for the doors and stuff and hit the buttons with some green and red.
So my back is absolutely killing me. I'm sure through the magic of editing, I made this painting process look like it only took a couple of minutes, but the truth is I've been doing this now for 3 weeks straight, and it's been a monumental task, and I'm so glad that I'm almost over the hill on it. I've got the tunnel sections with the covers, I got the engine room, the cargo rooms, the turbine rooms, the colony hub, the science hub, but I gotta take a little break now, change my pace, and start working on the table, because I got a few little pieces left that I forgot to print, so yep, even more 3D printing to come. I'm just gonna roll the footage.
Well, that's enough of that.
Anyway, let's get back at it, and we goes till we stops.
All the cliff faces were covered in Sculpt-A-Mold. Now, this is basically tissue paper and plaster, and when it dries to a really hard finish. And because of that, I had to use a lot of paint, water, and Mod Podge to cover the cliffs. And I even had to call in a little bit of help from Jenna. It was actually kind of tough to reach in around and paint these cliffs without getting full of paint. I made sure to get all the other parts like the crevice, the rocks, and the reef. Once that was done, some Deco Art navy blue, and I put on a heavy dry brush. Then, using some Deco Art black light neon colors, I continued on with the dry brushing, did some blue, ultraviolet, and then mixed both of them together for some purple. Now, because the floor is done with spackling compound, and when this stuff gets wet, it likes to reactivate. So it's very important to coat it in a heavy coating of Mod Podge. At least mix it with the paint. Projects like this is an incredible amount of work, but watching that subscriber count grow and the facility get larger makes it all worth it. So guys, go ahead and smash that subscribe button because I'd love to have you here in the facility. Also guys, Antimatter Games has got some phenomenal miniatures. You gotta check them out. Here's a little sneak peek. I'm going to be doing an entire video on my channel on these miniatures coming up soon. You don't want to miss that. There is an absolutely awesome reason why I'm building this underwater table, and I'm excited to tell you all about it. Antimatter Games and LV427 Designs are teaming up to produce Deep Water's Sunken Citadel, a 3D printable tabletop game for 2 or more players launching on January 30th, 2023. This adventure game is set in the Uncharted Realms world and is compatible with all other Deep Wars products and models from Dark Sword Miniatures. The Sunken Citadel is an underwater research station that lost contact with the surface kingdoms after a mysterious experiment went awry. One of the players controls a warband of mercenary divers and pirates, the Breach Team, set in to regain control of the station. The other player controls the invaders, corrupted remnants of the station crew, and terrifying beings of the ethereal void that have taken over the station. Wild creatures also lurk in and around the station, hunting down any members of the Breach Team or invaders. This Kickstarter's box set is going to include a ton of stuff, from miniatures to tiles to rule books, dice, markers, templates, everything you're going to need to play this. In addition to that, the team at LV427 Designs have completely designed the entire structure using printable STL files. That's going to be part of this Kickstarter too. I'm so hyped about this, you got to check this out. I've got a link to the Kickstarter in the description.
We got a whole bunch of coral.
I hit these with some color spray paint and a quick dry brush.
Turns out the yellow corals weren't vibing with the table, so I went ahead and painted them blue instead.
Then with a little bit of hot glue, I started to make some reefs. Then I used some Nova 3D Crystal Blue, some Nova 3D White, mixed it together, and made some crystals. Then I got this really cool shot of them curing, where all the crystals fell down, but I figured I wanted a cool shot, so I stuck them back up, and they all fell down again. Then I drilled some holes and ran some LEDs and figured I'd make these things glow up. And man, did it ever turn out cool.
This underwater world was based off of some concept art from Deep Wars that was sent over from Antimatter Games. And I got to say, I feel like I captured the tone of that image in my own way on this gaming table. Now, while I don't consider myself an artist by any stretch of the imagination, I really feel like this is a piece of artwork. I'm so happy with how this thing came out. It just exceeded my expectations. And I think that the Sunken Citadel is just going to look amazing against this backdrop of colors.
Don't worry, you don't have to be as crazy as me to play Deep Wars Sunken Citadel. This Kickstarter is going to come with a full set of printed mats that you can just play right on top of.
It was at this point I realized I forgot to print some doors.
As always, I need to take a second and thank all the members of my Patreon. You guys really helped me push through this hump here and print all 40 of these freaking doors. And all I got to say towards the end of it was send help.
So finally, we're at the best part of this project. we got both elements of this game board done. We've got all the files to the Sunken Citadel pre-assembled, painted, and ready to go, and the game board is ready to go. So now all we got to do is take these amazing 3D printed files from LV427 Designs and get them on this game table. If you're a fan of sci-fi tabletop gaming, then LV427 Designs has got you covered. They make some amazing interior designs for spaceships, space stations, and complexes for all your favorite genres, from Warhammer 40k, Space Hulk, Star Trek, Star Wars, and my favorite, Aliens. There's a link below to their website and a coupon code for 25% off. Make sure to check it out and pick yourself up some cool stuff.
Using some masking tape and spray paint, I got to work on the engine room. Now, all the computer control systems in this entire Citadel was painted this way. Picked out some details in the engine room, washed down the gold, used some 5-minute epoxy, clamps and weights, and with that I dropped down the first room of this build and started to glue on and magnetize other sections of this build. Now, this is a magnetized system, but I did go ahead and glue all the legs on, but most of the parts I magnetized anyway. Got the large storage room, quick paint job on the cargo containers, chemical room, and the doors. A few more tube sections. Here we have the crew quarters overlooking the chasm. Now there's a few spots I had to chip away at the board so that the feet could sit level. Moved down to the colony hub. Here I broke in my airbrush to help with the floor. Use some cold steel to scratch it off. Again, I epoxied it together. Here's another tube ladder escape room. Here's a small storage room. It just so happens that this particular room has a little bit of treasure. Then the weapons room. Here we've got the oxygen storage room, some purple tanks. Then the gas capture room. Now the torpedo room and the radar, really cool. And here's a look inside the colony hub. Then I just dropped into place the computer modules and the crystal capture tubes. 4 of each. And the main colony hub control. A few chairs. A few more tube sections. Then added the ether flux generator room. These generators were painted the same way as the engines. Dropped them right into place. Here we have the diver waterlock. This is a really cool room because I've got a couple of diver suits. Fitted those right in place. Then the subdocking tube where any submarines can dock up. And whatever this thing is, but it's cool and it belongs right in the middle of this science hub. Here we have the medical room. Drop that into place. Next up was a backup control room on the opposite side of the Sunken Citadel, just in case system failures. Reactor room. Then, for defenses on this side, we had the disruptor defense gun. Then, the medium storage room. Now guys, what's also cool about this is that these printed maps are 1-to-1 scale, and you could fit all your 3D printed parts right down on top of it and play a much smaller, simpler game. As you can see here, this stuff looks really cool on the kitchen table. I've been at this project in one way or another for the past 3 months. It's taken a tremendous amount of effort and a tremendous amount of time to pull this off, but I got to say, seeing it all come together on the table here is really cool. I think the colors all work really well, and I cannot wait to play some games of Deep Wars on this. It's going to be a ton of fun. I can also see me sneaking in a few games Base Hawk or even Kill Team. Make sure you check out that Kickstarter. I'll link it down in the description below. Hang around on my channel, watch some more videos. I got some really cool ones here. Check it out.